what I want to do is I want to introduce my guest and my guest co-host, and then I want to read the poem I wrote, okay? So, Diane, say hello to everyone and just tell them your full name.
Hi, I'm Diane Ponist.
Tiffany?
Tiffany Shimka.
That's my co-host who introduced me to this incredible woman, Diane. I have just a friend hanging out with us, holding my Elvis. Say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
That's Debbie. She's hanging out. So, guys, I want to read this poem, and then we'll get started with the show, okay? Okay, Deb?
Yes.
It's called Accept All of Us. Today's show is awesome. My guest is off the chart. Diane and her wife, Kristen, each have a huge heart. My guest co-host is my kid. Tiffany said, meet her, and I did. The Ponus family will wake you up, not half empty, but filled is their cup. Not only do they foster kids with special needs, then they hope to adopt. They are planting seeds. Bringing awareness also, autism is quite real. That is just the beginning, helping children heal. The challenges they've taken on with hopeless kids told their dreams were gone. Diane and Kristen said, hey, hold up, bring us the kids, we'll fill their cup. Told some may never speak and some may never live, they said, we will do our best, to them a life we'll give. Kristen gave birth to their baby, fostering and adopting 5 more. These 2 ladies are heroes, this family's for all to adore. Okay. All right. Diane and Kristen broke down doors in court in Bucks County, PA, the first same-sex couple to jointly adopt that day. They beat the system with force to help other families as well. In many years from now, what a story your kids will tell. Now to bring some humor, because I need to. Now to bring some humor from reading all my notes, not only do they have 6 kids, 4 dogs, and 2 dwarf goats. They do not live on a farm. Old MacDonald does not live there. Their house is also spotless with no plastic on any chair. I had to say that. Accept all of us is their slogan. Something you all should know. Any of you throw judgment, you need to hear this show. These women here are heroes. I really can't stress that enough. The lives that they have changed, even Rocky would say they're tough.
Hey, yo, wait a minute. Hold on. Now, hold on 1 minute there. Wait, just 1 second there. Did you say Rocky? Did you? Is that Diane? Hey, I'm going to tell you something. Diane, the Jersey Jewel is absolutely right, huh? You know what I mean? You guys really are tougher than me, huh? I appreciate that. Where's Kristen?
She's outside with the kids right now.
And you tell Kristen I say, yo, you know what I'm talking about? And I got a question for you. I know, oh, I'm sorry. How you doing, Jerry? I love you. But I heard all about, I just got to say yo to Diane, you know what I mean? I understand it. You got like 6 kids and 4 dogs and 2 dwarf goats. Well, I got a dog, 2 turtles, and a dwarf Elvis. You saw the Elvis, right?
Yes, I've seen the Elvis.
Does that mean that you're going to accept all of us, including me? I'm a palooka. You know what I mean? Come on.
Sure.
Will you,
I got plenty of room.
but hey, can you jointly adopt me? You know what I mean? I appreciate that because lately, you know what? There ain't nowhere to go. You know what I'm talking about?
I hear you.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, you guys are fighters like me. I heard all about you guys. You go to court, you fight, you know. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think both you guys are beautiful. Don't you think of that, Jerry?
Forget it. Yes, I do.
I
Yes,
know. No, just forget about it when you say it. Just forget
Thank you.
about it. And you're welcome, man, anytime. I really appreciate that. So, anyway, I just wanted to stop in and say, yo, to the 2 miracle workers. I mean, what you do with the kids is absolutely beautiful. And I don't know how you do it, but God bless you for it. It really means the world to, you know, the kids and everybody that knows you. So God bless you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Rock, I want to
Yo.
thank you so much, man, for surprising all of us. Wow, thank you. You know, you're one of my faves, man. You and Elvis, right?
This is a huge show. You know what I mean? I gotta have my face on this show when you're talking to this lady here. This is everything. This is what life is about right there. You know what I mean? Don't just pass this by. This is what life is about. Eh? And also to say yo to Tiffany. I'm sorry, Tiffany. I'm sitting here talking to everybody. You look at I didn't even say nothing, you know.
Calm down her.
Hey, Tiffany, you look a little bit like Adrian. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You
boy.
look like Adrian. Yours is beautiful, huh? All right, I'll stop there. Don't worry about nothing.
Listen,
All right,
honey,
you know, I gotta.
my kid Rocky. You're Rocky. It's okay.
Yeah, but you know what? My Adrian ain't gonna like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right. That's right.
I gotta
We
be
love your
careful.
Adrian.
Hey, yo,
Rock.
me too. Huh?
As a thank you for doing this for us, last minute coming on and saying hello, tell everyone who you are and what's happening with you real quick.
Well, real quick, my name is John Monforto. I'm the official mascot for the city of Philadelphia.
That's right.
I actually represent the city. They fly me to other cities to promote tourism, to try to bring people to Philadelphia. Although I ain't doing no flying recently, I ain't going nowhere. But in addition to that, throughout all of this being stuck home stuff, I have been doing, well, it's not a podcast, every morning on John Monforto's Facebook page. Every morning at 8 o'clock, I do a little Rocky, having fun with the people. It's called Hanging with the Rock. Rocky horoscopes, really. And every Saturday night, I do a concert because I do a lot of different characters. I do Sinatra, I do Broadway musicals. I'm primarily a singer. So every Saturday night at 8 o'clock on the John Monforto Facebook page, I perform, and we just have a good time. Just, you know, go to johnmonforto.com if you like. And I guess that's enough plugging for me.
I love you.
Can you actually send me your link? Because I have a lot of promotions that I do in Philadelphia since 4 of my children were adopted there.
Oh,
So we have a lot of events that we do for foster children, and I'm sure they'd be interested in speaking to you as well.
well, that's great, because you know what? Working with kids, I love working with kids, and they all love The Rock, you know, so we have a great
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
So
Jerry, when you're done, and you're
Put it out there,
finished,
get you promote it out there more. Okay.
All right. All right, it was a pleasure meeting you, and this is my
Thank
Adrian
you.
right there.
I'm Pretend Adrian. So good to meet you. God bless
love
both
you
of
guys.
you. God bless all
Thank you,
you.
guys. I love you.
Great show, Jerry.
Thank you. All right, sweetheart. So everyone out there knows that I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass because, guys, 29 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 29 years later, I'm a smartass. If anybody out there needs help with addiction, any addiction, get in touch with me. I will help you. If you need a book and you can't afford it, I will send you one. Get in touch with me, okay? Not here to judge, here to help, okay? Just had to say that. Now, let's get to the show. Here's the page that I made for this incredible family, all right? You can go on Facebook and see the ad, but I want to show you guys something. This photo right here. So Diane, Tiffany, my daughter, our guest co-host today, has some questions for you, but I want you to first tell everyone a little bit about what you guys do, and then we'll start questions.
What we do is we help people across the country foster and adopt. I have always wanted to adopt children. I wanted to give them a home and didn't have one. I didn't want to bring another child into the world because there's about 400,000 children at least in this country that don't have homes.
Okay.
So I went that route. And thankfully at the time she was on board.
Okay.
In the meantime, we had to push the envelope because it wasn't legal yet for same-sex couples to adopt jointly. So we forced it into law. So that's what we did in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
After that, of course, it went public what we did. So people from all over the country were contacting us, and we started a nonprofit organization to help people do what we did as well.
I have to say something about that first. that's incredible in itself, what you did right there. And not only is that incredible, fostering children to begin with special needs is incredible. And then trying to adopt them is even more incredible. I'm going to start crying, and I don't want to do that. I think you guys are angels. Everything that I said in my poem is true. I don't just say anything to say it. My daughter will tell you that. Having said that, you're real heroes to me and these children.
Thank you.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. There's not many people out there like you two. Okay? Tiffany, why don't you start asking some questions?
Okay. So first, do you think that it's different? Like even now that, you know, you guys kind of crossed that border and now, you know, gay couples can adopt. Do you think that there's different, they treat it differently? Like, is there any kind of discrimination that you guys have come across, like recently, I guess?
Absolutely. There was always discrimination, and just because it was legal doesn't mean people wanted to follow the law. We've had caseworkers that didn't feel that we were right because not only are we a same-sex couple, but we are a very blended family. They felt that, you know, other races didn't belong with white couples. We had that issue. We had the same-sex issue. We had a lot of issues, and it's in public, it's in the courtroom, and it's in caseworkers are the same way. You can't help people's personal beliefs, and that's the issue we've had. It's just battling people's personal beliefs on our life.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Even, like the race thing too? I mean, that's
Absolutely.
wow.
We've had an actual caseworker of one of our children tell me to my face that I hope the child goes back to its abusive mother.
Wait.
Because of, I'm not kidding you, because of he belongs with an African-American family, not our family.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, I gotta say something. Okay. You just shocked me to no end. I never expected that I would ever hear that.
It doesn't matter what the situation is. People feel like these children should be with their own nationality, their own family, their own relatives, regardless of what they've gone through. Some people feel like biological family is biological family, regardless of safety.
Okay. Tiff?
Now that I just shot you, next.
Me away. I mean, I've heard, you know, they're like, okay, well, the biological parents definitely come first. I mean, and that was actually going to be another question. Like, you know, when you foster a child and then say it was a drug addict mother or something, and then she becomes clean, you know, and wants her kid back, and she would obviously get her kid back, right? So first question, I guess, there is do they go into depth? Like, is it really truly safe to put that child back? Because I've heard so many situations where the child goes back and then something really bad happens, you know? So like, do they really—
They have to follow steps. They don't just get their child back because they're clean. They have to prove that they've done everything that they need. They have a whole book of things that they need to complete in order for this to happen. And it's nobody's decision but a judge. So they'll say a child's in the foster system for at least a year. It's much, much longer than that, because they give chance after chance. They give every opportunity for somebody to get their stuff together, to get everything together: housing, finance, criminal history. Everything needs to be in order for them to get their children back. And then the judge has the final say at that point.
Okay, so then have you fostered kids to where you have to give them back?
I didn't hear you with that one. Repeat it.
Have you fostered kids where you've had to give them back under circumstances like that?
To give children back?
Yeah, like if you thought that you might have been able
She's breaking up.
Can you hear me?
No.
She wanted to know, can you hear me, Diane? Diane, can you hear me?
A little bit shaky.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Tiffany
Okay.
wanted to know. We got Tiff.
Okay, I'll try. So have you fostered kids to where you were hoping to adopt them, but then a situation like that happened and you had to give them back? And if so, how'd you handle that?
Okay, so we didn't foster just to adopt. We fostered to give children a home, even if it was temporary. Some people think, you know, you're going to foster and the children are automatically yours. They're not your kids.
Right.
That's where people say, I don't know how you did this. I don't know how you do this. I can't give them back. They're not yours. It's like a long-term babysitting, acting as if you're the parent role and not expecting to adopt a child until you're told this child is going to adoption, the termination is going to happen for the parental rights. Until then, you're just helping somebody, you know, they're staying with you for a period of time, and that's the only way you can look at it. I didn't know that. I had 2 children and before Kristen, that I fostered, and I almost adopted them. And the day before the adoption happened, I was called at work and told me that they had the children, that I wasn't going to adopt them. It was, and that was a whole same-sex thing. They did it because of my sexuality.
Oh my gosh.
But in the same time, I said, I'm done. I'm not fostering ever again until we met DeAndre. I found him online. We found him on an online catalog of children that need homes.
How old was he when you got him first?
We met him at 4 years old. He's now 13.
Okay.
And I looked at him and I said to Kristen, he's the one. We did something called matching because I thought I was never going to foster again after the first time losing kids. And we adopted him from the foster system where he was in a home. It was a foster home. And we still speak to his previous foster family. They're like family to us, but they just weren't in a place to adopt him. So we adopted him straight from the foster system. And then once we saw him and realized, okay, we can keep going. And then we started about 6 months later to foster kids again. I opened myself up and realized I went in this all wrong to begin with. Took a step back and realized, okay, well, we can help kids. And we've done it a few times. It just doesn't always work out. And it's not just the kids going back to the families, but sometimes it's not a good fit for us. You know, you realize that it's a toxic relationship. We're not clicking. It's not there. So it's not like it's a kid's place in your home and they have to stay forever. There's different situations where the child might do better in somebody else's home than mine. So kids have come and gone a lot, yes. But every child that went to adoption, we adopted, absolutely.
Okay, and then how have the other kids in your home handled that when kids come and leave?
They love it. They love seeing new faces. They love having people come. We've had to correct them in the past couple of years because people would come over that were neighbors to come hang out. They're like, oh, is this my new brother or sister? No, it's just somebody here to play today. But after that, they loved it. And they learned to open up because we at one point, we had a foster daughter that just, it wasn't working. It wasn't clicking. And we never checked in with them. And I was so mad at myself to ask them how they felt about her behaviors. But after that, we were pretty much checking in with them all the time. How does it make you feel when they do this or when they act like this or, you know. So now the communication's there, but they love it. They love helping other people and they understand. We used to do drives to Easter baskets, Christmas stockings, Halloween, costumes, back to school stuff. What?
You did kind of flip-flop one. I remember sending you flip-flops a long time ago.
Yes, see? Flip-flops and sunglasses.
Oh, right.
And
I didn't realize it was them.
Yes, and our kids were part of it. They knew, is this for us? No, we give it to kids that don't have the stuff that you have. They understand what fostering means, and they love every bit of it because they are proud of where they came from.
I want to say something. All right, so I'm going to ask you something. And again, whatever I ask you, if you feel uncomfortable answering publicly, please say,
Okay.
Jared, I'd rather not answer that. And I mean that, okay? It's okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of different views and opinions when it comes to fostering. And when I put this out there, the ads I put out about today's show, I got a lot of feedback, private messages, some very negative. And,
of course.
Of course. And of course, I put them nicely in their place. Okay. this is my question to you. So there's so much controversy with fostering out there, and not with same sex. I'm talking about just fostering in general.
With
Because
everyone.
a lot of people, and I've met a couple personally that fostered for the money. Okay?
Okay.
And one of them was a friend of mine at the time, and I actually remember this conversation, and I want to ask you what your thoughts are on this.
Okay.
When DIFUS is involved, why do they have to let the family know when they're coming to do a check? Because she would actually say to me, oh, I have to be home tomorrow at 2:00 because DIFUS is coming to do a check. And I would flip out and I'd be like, I don't really understand this. Why should you know when they're coming? Like, this to me is not okay. So tell me your thoughts on that.
It depends on the situation. If it's abuse and it's obvious and there's evidence, they usually do a surprise check and there'll be an officer with them for security. But there are a lot of false allegations made against people. And if they don't have reason to believe that it might be actually true, then they'll say, hey, are you going to be home? Because there's so many calls they get, and they're not going to show up at everybody's door and just hope that you're there. So they're going to schedule a meeting. And I get your point. You think they should be surprised and call, and their house should be a certain way and not have a chance to clean up something that might have happened. I get that, but there's not enough people, caseworkers, to even investigate this stuff, let alone follow immediately without a warrant.
It can also be a privacy issue. I mean, if somebody shows up my door, at my door, I don't have to let them in. You know what I mean? So
I know but here's you're right. Both of you are right. And I guess it's so much deeper than I could even imagine it being. I'm just looking at it as a mom and a grandmom, and are you kidding me? And, I took care of a family member's 3 children for a couple of years, and there were drugs involved and all that. And I can say that freely. I'm not going to give names, but, I just remember things going on and thinking like, my personality, I'm going to bust down your door and I'm just going to surprise you and see what's going on with these kids. So I'm that Italian with that.
But you can't be, because there's laws that have to be followed. You can't just do that.
Some of those laws, though.
But what happens if somebody told you something and it wasn't the case? And then here you go and erupt the household and children are involved and it's not the truth.
I know. All right. So calm me down, Tiffany. Go ahead. So now ask another question.
okay. Wait, what else do I have? All right. When you foster,
Okay.
like how much is the state involved? Do they do periodic home visits to you as well?
Oh, wait, yeah, at least once a month. Each caseworker. Now, we've had times where caseworkers are like family members to us. And they're probably watching because we still talk to all of them because now they're like family. But we would they'd come over and we'd chit chat, and they'd become almost like a family member to you because of they're checking your house, they're checking your water, they're checking everything to make sure everything's right. And they're sitting out and hanging out with us and the kids, and they would have to at least visit once a month to report it back for the case.
Oh, I mean, that's good to know. Like the people that foster for the wrong reasons,
Yes.
That's good. What else?
So,
wait, let me ask a question real fast.
Okay.
This is a quick one. When you foster or adopt, and I don't know if it might be 2 different answers, and it also might differ from state to state, but do they have to check vaccine records for everyone in your home?
No. We have to go to the doctor and do a very basic physical.
Okay.
So the only thing you need to be is get a TB shot just to make sure that you don't have TB. Other than that, it's just to make sure that there's no communicable diseases, that you're in valid good health, and that's pretty much it. And the doctor just has to sign off.
Is it a TB shot or a TB test?
Test.
Test. Okay. And does that go the same with adopting? Like if you have other kids in your home, do they have
It's got to be done every year. It has to be done within each year of that lapsing.
Okay, but as far as vaccines, like the kids in your house don't have to be up to date. That's for fostering or adopting.
Are you talking about your kids or a foster child? Okay. That is your business, and no one is going to check because they're your children. They only are going to check the children that are in the foster system. And they have to do whatever the doctor is going to tell you that needs to be done because they're not your child. Right.
Yeah,
That's okay. Listen, I'm not pro-vaccine, but I'll if I'm going to foster someone and they have to be vaccinated, that's okay, because look at the situation they're in.
No,
Right.
of course. I have heard, people have told me that I wouldn't be able to foster a child because they make sure that everyone in your household is up to date with vaccines.
That's
No,
why you were
I have
asking.
never heard that, and I can be corrected. I mean, people might be messaging me to correct me. But certain things are state to state, county to county. Rules are different everywhere, but I have yet to hear that in Jersey, Pennsylvania,
Right.
anywhere in that area.
For now, anyway. But
For
I
now.
have a question. But now I have a question. So you have 6 children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have one Kristen gave birth to, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Gavin.
Name and age. Gavin.
Yeah.
And how
He's
old?
3. He's number 6. He's at 3 years old.
Okay. So he was the 6th child.
Yeah.
The 6th child. So tell us the ages and the names of all the children in order as you got them.
As we got them, okay. Well, that's gonna be tough because 3 of them came at like the same time.
Okay.
DeAndre was the first one adopted, and he's 13.
Wait,
and then-
how old was he when you got him?
We met him at 4 years old.
Okay.
He was in our home 4 months after we met him. I was pretty much driving from Philadelphia area to Pittsburgh to meet him every weekend, and we would go get him, and I'd drive all the way back home, 7 hours, back and forth from Friday to Sunday to do weekend visits with him. And we did a transition period from him to move into our home. That, I believe, started in January. By May, it's actually exactly 9 years ago. Okay, so May 19th, ironically, he lived with us forever. And then after 6 months after us having him in our home, realized it's going to be a good fit, we adopted him that following December 28th.
So
Now,
you're telling me May 19th is the date?
yeah, the first day he was placed in our home.
Yay! This show was meant to be. Okay.
Anyway, so that happened then. And then we had to wait, in our county, in our state, we had to wait 6 months after his adoption before we can have more children in the home, just to make sure everything was settled with him.
Okay.
And so after that point, we started receiving phone calls for the next one. And then Landon was the next. He is now 8.
Okay.
A few weeks later, we had a couple other fosters that were in the home that weren't adopted. I'm trying to think. The next one was Kyra. It's Kai, and she is now 6. She was placed with us at 9 months old. And then about a month and a half later, it was Alex, and she was placed with us at 2 years old. So her and Landon, Alex and Landon are actually 2 weeks apart in age. So we call them twins.
Wow, aw.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So they're both 8, Kyra's 6. Carson is we weren't expecting baby. At that point, once the other 3 went through, the other 3 had the same exact adoption day. We had them all adopted in Philadelphia on the same day. But we were closing our home after them. And then Kristen asked me if it was a good time for her to try to get pregnant to carry her home.
Okay.
She always wanted to do that. So I said, sure, why not? We got 2 and 2, 2 boys, 2 girls. All right, one more, we're done. So she got pregnant through IUI the second try. And while she was 7 months pregnant, I'm bathing the girls on a Friday night. And she answered her phone, screaming across the house that Kai has a baby brother that was just born. And
Okay.
since we were adopting her, he was legally ours by law. So we thought about it, and we weren't ready for another one. We were about to have a boy, as it was. we decided that he's family. We can't do this. We got to take him. So we ended up tapping into our Facebook family, and after us helping everybody else for so long, we were like, listen, we have this child coming in 24 hours. He's a newborn. He's coming straight from the hospital. We need help. People came from all over, giving us and donating everything we needed, so that the next day DHS dropped him off at the house.
Wow.
So Carson is 3 years old. Carson is 3 years old, and then Gavin was born 2 months later, 2 or 3 months later.
So Carson and biological siblings.
Yeah.
So I want to ask one more thing, Tiffany, and you can talk, because I want this to be brought out, because when you told me this part, it was amazing to me. The part where you were told that the child wouldn't speak, would never speak. You were telling me a story, right?
We have actually 2 of those.
Tell us a
DeAndre,
little bit about that.
when we met DeAndre, we had no idea what autism was. I had no clue at that point.
Okay.
And we were told that he would probably never be able to speak, that he was nonverbal. But when we were starting to get into the adoption process after he was living in our home, we found out that he could read. He taught himself to read at the age of 2. So it was a commercial on TV. He was reading the commercial to us. So we're like, okay, wow. And they're like, no, he can read. And the caseworker told us everything. So what we started to do was put place cards all over the house, door, cabinet, fridge, and he would point and we would tell him, read it to me. So he started reading to us. So to talk to him, we'd make a list. Okay, DeAndre, what do you want to do next? Do you want to go outside and play? Do you want to have a snack? Do you want to watch a movie? And he would pick one and we'd say, okay, read it to me. So we'd read it back. But it wasn't until we got our first foster child after him, he was helping her with her math homework, because he's a math genius, and she was telling him to talk and to teach, and so she brought it out in him and made him talk, and now he doesn't stop.
Wait, and
Now he talks back.
Didn't they say that he wouldn't be good in a house with other children too?
Right. Well, we made sure that he was going to be the oldest child, so that there's no issues with any other kids coming to home older than him. But they said that they weren't sure, that he was ever going to be able to talk, and maybe he was good as just a single child. But they also placed him with us because we were a same-sex couple. Now, his caseworker back in Pittsburgh, the one who picked our application, because there's a lot of applications sent in. You send an application, and they go through them and pick what they feel is the best fit. And they felt that he was best with 2 females. And that's why she went with us.
Hold it. I have to say something about that. You just made a light bulb go off in my head. Think about it. This child needed 2 moms.
The nurturing is what he needed, is what they're saying.
Yes, the nurturing. I get that. I mean, you see where it's beautiful. All right, I just had to say that because you just made a light bulb go off in my head. Like, no one thinks about these things. Wow.
That's their job, is to find the best home, for the best fit for each child when you do something called matching. Other than that, we didn't have any warning. We didn't know anything. It was, you get a phone call, we have a child, we have a case. This child was just going, this is all we know. This is the age. Can you do it? Yes or no? Yes. And the next day, immediately a child's walking up your driveway and it's exciting to see a new face and to learn them in that first night. It was fun for us.
Okay, Tiffany, anything?
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool that they were like, no, this kid needs 2 females.
Yes.
And you guys you were perfect for him, Okay. Question. Okay, so what's the process from fostering to adopting? I guess in a nutshell, because I'm sure it's a long process.
It is a very long process. The first thing that has to be done is it's called a home study. And you have to do training classes, and you go to each county, each state is different with that. Some can be online. Obviously, I'm probably thinking all of them are online at this point now with all this going on. But then they come and they check your house. We get the federal background checks, criminal background checks, all that stuff, the physical we talked about. And
Wait,
it could take
the background checks. Do they do that to foster or just when you're transitioning from foster to adopt?
everything. You cannot get a child in your home unless you pass a federal state background check. It's a criminal background check to make sure you have no child abuse or anything about children on your record.
What if you have something like insurance fraud or something like that?
No. Well, I think you're in prison and not fostering a child.
Don't have to be. There's someone I know. I hope they're not watching right now because they're going to be like, "Why did you say this?" Someone that I know that would love to foster a child, but years ago they had a insurance fraud
A
issue.
misdemeanor, but that's a federal offense. So misdemeanor is different.
No, this and there was the other things attached to this. It was all about the insurance fraud, though. I can't go into detail because I think they're.
Okay, you're going too deep on something else.
Going too deep. But here's me again. Here's me. It shouldn't matter with insurance fraud years ago. To me, that's me.
Like, even if it's a felony, but do they look at like what it is? Like, if it doesn't have to do with a child or anything like that, is there a chance that you'll still be able to foster?
I personally haven't had that problem, so I don't know the exact length that. I think it depends on the state and the county and what their guidelines are, to be honest.
Okay.
So,
All right, so continue
Go
with your
ahead.
process from foster to adopt.
Okay, we're good now? Okay. All right, so where was I? Okay, the physical, the home study, all that stuff, and all the training's done. Now, once that's finished, then it's just waiting for them to get a call that they have a child that needs a home to be placed, I believe. I think I didn't miss anything. But you have to go through the whole, the training and the home study first. They're going to check the temperature of your water, make sure it's not too hot. So a child can't turn on and get burned. They're going to check your smoke detectors. They're going to make sure you have a layout of your house in case of a fire that you know where to go and the kids know where to go. And everyone in the house over the age of 18 need to also have a criminal background check, even if they're not involved, even if they're just staying with you. Car registrations, car license. It's been a little while, so I'm trying to remember what else. But I think that's pretty much about it.
so I have a question.
Okay?
When you guys started out with this, now your wife, I understand, right? Kristen was in the healthcare industry, right? No?
No, we actually worked together. She was a paralegal at a law firm.
Okay, but to me, that's healthcare. I mean, yes. Paralegal. So that's part of it to me. I mean, you have to be, no, but I understand that.
Okay.
So she was paralegal. So now she is staying home. She's a stay-at-home mom, correct?
Kind of.
Okay. Are the children homeschooled?
No, one is. We have one that's homeschooled, the rest are in school, and then she stays with the 3-year-olds when school was in session. And now she's doing all the homeschool with the virtual because I'm working all day. My mother lived with us up until recently, and she retired just to help us when we got that phone call for Carson. And she looked at us and said, "We can do this. I'm going to retire." And her retirement date was Gavin's birthday. The day he was born was her her day to retire. So now that she had moved out and we don't have the extra help, before that, Kristen was helping me with the company that we have and doing all the back end paperwork where I do all the communication with clients and creditors and banks and everything like that, and attorneys. But now it's been a little bit harder for that to happen. So, but she's still the stay-at-home mom, yes.
Okay. You guys took on so much more than the average person could ever think about taking on. What I want, I guess, is for you to say something out there for everyone listening who are even considering fostering or adopting that are having reservations. Give them some hope. I mean, the average person may foster 2, may adopt 2 in their lifetime that are interested in doing this, right? What you guys have taken on is huge. Give them some hope. What would you have to say to everyone out there who is thinking about it?
I'm going to say this. Just because you're thinking about it, it doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Okay.
It's not for everyone. It's not. And you have to be able to put yourself in a position to let go. You have to answer to people all the time. You have no control over this situation because of a foster parent is at the bottom of the totem pole. Your opinion in most cases does not matter. You have to sit back and you have a job to do, and that's all it is a job. And you brought up the whole financial situation. I'm sorry to say, if you're doing it for the money is not good. It's getting, less, I think people can probably correct me, it's less than a penny an hour for a 24-hour job. And it's intense. And you have emotional issues, physical issues. Children only go into the foster system because they were either abused or neglected. So you're dealing with trauma even from them leaving their families, coming to you, and it's all new. People get divorced over this. People, they need psychiatric evaluations after this. It's not easy, but you have to take it for what it's worth, that it's not you. It's beyond you, and you just sit back and you have to treat these children for what they've been through and not take it personal. It's just, if you don't have your mental state where it needs to be, it's not going to work. And a lot of people say, stop and say, I can't ever do this again. And that's good. I'm glad you made that decision. But there's a lot of people that are sitting back and keep saying, I want to try, but never do try. That's a whole different situation. But it's not for everyone. I can tell you that right now. I know a lot of people that started it and they're like, never again. And I thought after we had moved to Florida, never again, and then we entertained it again, and then the kids are getting older and more things are coming out. So it's like, all right, we have enough on our plate. It's not going to happen.
If someone wanted to foster a child and they're worried about their other child at home being affected, wouldn't it be safer to maybe foster an infant then?
What do you mean would be safer?
Okay. In my situation, I remember when I did it. Okay. I had 3 children. The youngest was 3 or 4, and the oldest was, I think, 14, 13, something like that. They had a lot of emotional issues. One of the young ones, the 10-year-old, tried to hurt my dog. And I remember that, but my daughter was older. She was a teenager, so I wasn't worried about that. But say you bring in a foster child that has all these emotional issues, and you have your child at home, a young child. There could be some issues there with the child not knowing any better, of course, because of the trauma they were involved in, hurting the other child. So if someone out there is thinking about fostering, because I experienced it, you know what I mean? If someone out there is thinking about fostering, wouldn't it be safe to foster, and instead of saying, no, I don't want to foster an infant that needs you?
No.
Okay.
If your children are first, your children at home are first. And if it's anything that your child needs extra attention for, then it's not a good idea, because you don't know what you're going to get. What if it is an infant and then you realize, and we've had that, we've gotten all of our children, most of them at very young ages, and things come out that you can't control yet you're not expecting. When you're training for these classes, it doesn't touch what you're really going to be facing. It's basic. It doesn't touch a lot of the situations that we were dealt with. I had a neurologist encourage me to reach out to biological families to find out what their medical history is for mental illness. Because as they grow up, things come out, and it's nothing you can control. It's not how they're raised with you. There's stuff genetically that, or biologically, you cannot connect. You can't fix that by just parenting. You know what I mean? It's a lot more involved than that. So if you already have a child at home that you might be overwhelmed with a little bit, then it's not a good idea to take on anything else beyond that. Because now it's going to take time away from your child that you need to spend time with first.
Okay. So guys, wow, this really flew. We've got about 10 minutes left. Oh no, actually, no, I'm sorry. No. We have a little bit more time. I'm not seeing correctly. We're fine. So now let's be encouraging now. Tell everyone, like, this is incredible that what you guys did in that court that day. So you've opened up doors for other same-sex families, not just 2 females, for 2 males as well, right? So tell us about that journey. Oh, and then also touch note on your Accept All of Us what you did with that.
Okay, the first one.
Yes.
Let me see. Repeat that one again because you lost me.
All right, so like I just want to tell everyone in a nutshell, like basically the door that you opened.
Okay.
What if?
So
Yeah.
it was not legal at the time when we adopted DeAndre. It was not yet legal for same-sex couples to jointly adopt. They were having, one parent adoption, second parent adoption, things like that, but it wasn't joint. And the night before court, I was on the phone with our attorney, and I said, "What are we gonna do?" And she literally, she's amazing. We still talk to her. She's like family to us. She did all of our adoptions, by the way. Maggie was like, listen, it's not banned in the state of Pennsylvania. They can't literally tell us no, and if he does, we'll force it. And that's what we did. Didn't sleep the night before, went to court, and we just sat there, answered the judge's questions and why we felt that we were a good fit for him and how we felt, and it went through. And then after that, it went public. So ironically, now Bucks County, Pennsylvania would not let us adopt another child because, and one of the reasons is because of they're very conservative. And once we squeaked through and pushed it without them realizing that we were a same-sex couple until we got there and they couldn't say no, they wouldn't entertain doing another adoption with us again. So then we went to Philly and did it there. So that's what we did. We've helped a lot of families that they live in states and counties where they're more conservative. So what we do is we find the bylaws that we can escape to push it through that they cannot legally say no. But now it's federal law, so there's no reason for anybody to say no now. And if they do, there's legal ramifications.
Okay. So
and what is your second question now?
Okay. So now, okay, so, so accept all of us. You do stuff for autism. You do all this incredible stuff. Tell everybody about your cause.
That's not really our cause. Is fostering hopes and wishes, but
okay.
accept all of us is because we have probably one of the most blended families that there possibly could be. So we have neighbors who, when we moved to this neighborhood, a very diverse neighborhood, and that's why we moved here. When we lived in Pennsylvania, it was not diverse whatsoever, and issues were being had. So when we moved here, we made sure we moved to a community that was all over the map, and it is. There's a lot of different races here, sexualities. It's just everything's great. But accept all of us is because we still have people like they'll walk down the street and they'll ask us how much our daycare is. Or, we'll go out to dinner and it's, "Oh, are you guys at daycare?" No, they're ours. Or Kristen has even had where she's walking around the block with the children and somebody will say to her and point to Gavin and say, "Is he yours? He's gorgeous." And she'll say, "They're all mine." "Oh, I didn't know. I didn't mean anything by that." So that stuff happens all of the time. So that I've gone to, DeAndre had a surgery not long ago. He needed surgery. I took him to the doctors, and because of my appearance, I was asked where his birth certificate is to prove that I was parent.
Wait, stop right there. But I don't understand what your parent. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means.
I was questioned if I was really his mother, and I said yes.
Because I understand what you said. I don't understand what they meant by your appearance, what you're saying by your appearance. What do you look like?
Because by my appearance, she knew or assumed that I physically didn't have him. Even though if you look at him, you could never tell that because he's a spitting image of me. He looks just like me. So, but she asked that question. I'm not kidding you.
That doesn't make sense. Okay, that part doesn't even make sense to me though. Okay, Tiff, you want to?
It was to the point where my son cried leaving, apologizing to me because he was embarrassed that I had to go through that and answer that I was really his mom. So that stuff happens all the time. So that's what the accept all of us is because of, just because I look a certain way doesn't mean I'm not.
Okay, so now, all right, now tell us about that cause that you guys are involved in. What is it called? I'm sorry. You
Fostering Hopes and
mentioned it.
Wishes. That is, we just help people across the country. People, as of this morning, people message all of the time, both of us, every day. I'm thinking about doing this. What do I need to do? I started a business based off of this because I was working for Department of Education for federally defaulted student loans. Yes, I was the person that garnished wages and offset taxes, and they were shutting down my office in Worcester, Pennsylvania. And because I didn't feel like going to work for somebody else, I created this company. People were coming to me constantly knowing that I'm in finance and asked for me to help them on the side so that they can get their credit. Oh, by the way, in a home study, they check your credit report too to make sure you're paying your bills before you get a foster child. I left that part out. So they would call me and say, listen, can you help me get my finances in order? Can you help me? Because you have to do a whole finance sheet to prove that you can afford it without the stipulation that is for the children. Not for you, it's for the children's needs. So I was helping people get their finances in order, fixing their credit on the side because that's what I did. And then I woke up one day and I just came downstairs and I said to her, I just started a company. She's like, what? I'm like, I just woke up thinking about it and I just did it and it took off. And I named it Trust Us Financial Firm because people kept saying, I'm coming to you because I trust you from doing all we've done. So now we've helped people not only foster and adopt, but fix everything else so that they're ready and can get this done to foster or adopt children.
Beautiful. Tiffany, you have anything else to say?
Not at this moment. I think I finished my
Not at this moment.
All right, we're coming to the close of the show. No, we're coming to the close of the show. We still have a few more minutes. So if there's anything else, Tiffany, you want to ask and anything else, Diane, you want to say, you have the floor. Tiffany?
I think we pretty much caught everything.
Okay. Tiffany, you have anything else you'd like to ask? Or are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay. So I want to thank both you ladies. Tiffany, thank you for being my guest co-host, as usual. I love it. But I want to thank you, Diane, because, again, what you and your wife are doing is incredible. You just blew me away with your story and what you're doing for everyone else out there who needs hope is amazing, because there are a lot of people out there, same-sex marriages, that are nervous and scared and feel like their hands are tied, and you're bringing them hope and letting them know that they're not. And that's what I want everybody out there to understand. I also want everybody out there to stop judging people, okay? Because I know some of you just can't, and that's horrible and sad, but you need to. You need to stop it, because I judge people. I got to say, I do sometimes judge people by their heart, okay? By their heart. And that's what we all should start doing. But even that, having said that, hurt people hurt people. So always try to look at where that person is from and what they've been through, okay? So having said that, I want to thank you, ladies. Diane, an amazing show. Thank you so much. Give Kristen a hug from me, and hug your kids. What you're doing for their lives is unbelievable. You've absolutely saved lives. And once again, you ladies are heroes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Tiff?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to thank my audience. Please do me a favor, share this video. If this has touched you in any way, please share this video. And on that note, everybody, have a great night. Thank you.
How do I get out of here?
You have to press a button.
Why? I don't understand.
I don't even know.
Is it out? Do I?
There it goes.